Karting, the most basic kind of racing. Let's see what Kartcraft as a karting simulator has to offer right here, right now. Greetings petrolheads and welcome to romrom.net, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing, and today to a special edition because we are testing Kartcraft. Kartcraft wants to be a karting simulator, and as you may know, I love karting. It's the most basic, most simple way of driving. You have a throttle, you have brakes, and the connection between the wheel and the tires is very direct. Kartcraft is on early access. Expect things not to be finished. We'll check in the next minutes how well it simulates racing on a kart, and we'll try to find out if it's worth the price. What is absolutely worth it is to subscribe to our channel, because if you want to be informed about new videos, click subscribe and also click on the bell and become part of the ever-growing RomRom family. Although Kartcraft supports VR from the get-go, even on the menus, when you are racing, the VR is quite jittery, even giving a blurred image because of that. I like the display of the deltas, the time differences is smack in the middle. I don't have to look around and it's not disturbing anything else. It's short enough and long enough that I can see it and it doesn't disturb. The support for graphics seems not to be quite complete, because look at that, I'm racing against Ghost Driver. Sound support seems not to be quite finished, because on many occasions I didn't hear the motor, I only heard the wind and some noises like the tires. For somebody like me who races by ear, it makes it difficult to drive, even when, of course, this is a kart, you don't have gears. What sometimes worked was to get off track and then respawn on track, and lo and behold, the motor sound was there. Apart from that, the sound is good, if not perfect. You notice that the motor sounds and the rest of the sounds are layered one on top of the other. They don't mix well, but the motor sounds well, and I like that you hear other sounds like the wind or the tires. One thing that I noticed at one point and I liked very much was that I heard the tires screeching, then at some point I lost grip and the tires stopped screeching, and when I regained grip the tires started making their sound again. That's a very good detail, very well thought. Not many programmers think about that. I hope this does not end up being a rant, but one thing that sent me into despair was the graphic user interface. The user experience using this interface is, in my opinion, horrendous. Often enough, I had no idea of how to get from one menu to the other. Okay, you can use enter and escape, those are classics, but then using, for example, the cursor keys did nothing. I hope this is something that they'll better. At least I hope they're gonna give us information on how to move to the submenus. I had to set up my VR so that wherever I was looking, that was selected, then I could go to the submenus. I'd love to find out how to get to the submenus using a keyboard. Should you find yourself in the same situation, go to the VR menu and choose as VR input method either gamepad, keyboard plus gaze or gaze only. And then there are explanations that don't help a bit. The HDR enables the HDR output. Oh, thank you very much. What the heck is HDR? I know I can Google it, but when I'm on VR, it's not so easy to Google something. I would have many more examples, but I'm gonna close with a small one. When I'm in input, I would like to see on pedal steering and even maybe on force feedback the same input status test that I see on bindings. As I said, it's a small one, but it would help. One thing I like, and that is a great help in usability, is the proximity indicator, something like Helicorsa, Helimobilista that they have from the get-go. And sadly, replays seem not to be implemented yet. It's a pity, as I like to watch the replay of my race, of my practice, to see where I'm doing something wrong. Often enough, when you see it from outside, you can recognize it better than when you're sitting in the kart. At the moment, Kartcraft offers 4 different tracks, plus a track based on user data. The force feedback supports the immersion very good. The reactions from the kart are quite well. The reactions to your reactions are very realistic, and you can react so well because you notice quite fast what is happening with your kart, all because of the excellent force feedback. Did I mention that I like the force feedback? You will have to tweak the settings to make it a little bit stronger. If you've ever driven karts, you know that it takes a lot of energy to drive for half an hour, and after that your arms will feel like made of chewing gum. This is not the case on Kartcraft the way it is set up. You may want to make the force feedback stronger. When you do so, be prepared to notice every bump in the road, as I said, these tracks are laser scanned and the force feedback is really good. Of course, the VR helps with that immersion. You drive very near to the track as it should be. Now they have to fix the VR because it's quite spotty. I was able to save quite well any oversteer situations because of the good force feedback and because the sim reacts very sensitive to any inputs. One thing though is not well implemented. I hope this is gonna get better and better with subsequent versions, is the AI. The AI drive like madmen, they drive through you, they just don't care about you at all. Added to that, the physics are not very well when you get in contact with another kart. You fly around, even the slightest of touches sends you out of the track. It's as if they didn't count the way of the pilot into the way of your kart, so you spin and fly around at the slightest, but also other karts fly around. This is horrendous, this breaks the immersion completely, and it's absolutely not what you would see in a kart race. This is more the kind of vehicle behavior that I would expect from a simcade, and this, for the rest, does not look like a simcade. And another thing that is clearly not implemented is that when you break the rules, you don't get penalized. Look at this, I was 9th, I went through the track, cutting the track completely, I became first and I even won the race. No, that should not be possible, that should not be allowed. So this clearly is something from the early access, and I hope and expect that this will be changed quite fast, quite soon. One thing this sim supports very well is that you can slide a little bit with your kart, which is part of how you drive a kart. You let it slide a bit so that you can enter the curve better. It's also a technique that Michael Schumacher was known to use when racing on Formula 1, of course coming from his time in kart racing. The only way to get support is going to their Discord channel. They don't have a forum where you could be finding out which problems others have had and how they solved them, so this is also not quite what I was expecting. The sim looks great, it's got a great immersion, but the VR is not good. It's similar to the VR in Assetto Corsa Competizione at the beginning, and Assetto Corsa Competizione as this sim was made with the Unreal Engine. There's also some graphic errors. All in all, I would give it 4 eyes out of 5 for the look. There are some errors in the sound, especially the motor. Also, the sounds sound layered and are not mixed well, but all in all, it sounds quite well. It helps in the immersion, so for the sound, I give it 4 ears out of 5. The force feedback is excellent, but the AI is horrible and the physics on collision are just horrendous. The driving experience here when you're driving alone is good, but when you're driving against the AI, and at the moment it's the only thing you can do, there is no multiplayer implementation yet, is just a catastrophe. For the driving feeling, I give it 3 wheels out of 5. The graphic user interface gets a special dishonorable mention with no notes. I don't want to repeat what I said, but it needs to be worked upon very thoroughly. All in all, the developers here have the heart in the right place, but this needs a lot of work. Yes, it's in early access, so I did not expect it to be finished at all. These are just points that at this moment in time come to mind when racing Kartcraft. Also, I tried to get some answers from the team and gave them a couple of days to respond to what I had found. Unluckily, I did not get any answer. I do accept that this is an independent production, that they don't have massive money for a PR team and for press, which leads me to my conclusion. As you know, we at romrom.net are no strangers to supporting early access. We bought Assetto Corsa Competizione on early access. We have already bought Automobilista 2, even if we have only seen videos, but we like to support, and we bought Kartcraft because of what we had seen and heard. If you feel the same and want to support people who have their heart in the right place and are working, in our opinion, in the right direction, go ahead and buy Kartcraft. This sim definitely leads to the just one more lap feeling that you get when you're enjoying yourself. If you want to have a polished, finished sim, wait, because this is not it yet. Kartcraft is an interesting proposition, something that at some point, if the developers are able to keep at it, can be an excellent kart simulator. If you have a different opinion or want to share your experience, let us know in the comments. And thank you for your time, we love to hear from you. But wait, there's more videos sharing the joy of sim racing. Check the playlist to the left or the video to the right. Until next time, save fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other at the podium. Visit romrom.net to connect to fellow sim racers and sim racing fans.